Okay. Yeah, I'm recording now, and if you're on speaker, that's okay, I think.
Well, no, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
It sounds as though
Um,
that might be a problem for your recording, so I
well,
won't
yeah, it's
worry
not
about
it's
that.
not for radio, so the audio doesn't matter, but I just want to hear you clearly enough so that when I write your quotes, I get it correctly. You could try
Yeah.
speaker if it's easier for you.
hmm Uh, no, it's fine. We're good.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm recording now, and I have to say, well, my mom was at the Art Students League in the '50s, and
Oh,
then
okay.
yeah, and then she was at the Art Center School of Design. She came from Norway to study art in America, and then let's see, in the '80s and '90s, I suppose, I would go visit her when the McNay had a school.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was the San Antonio Art Institute.
Yes, and
And my father went to school there
oh yes,
for the brief period that it was open.
I
Yeah.
know, and you know what? That's why I say about the angle of this story for me is are those experiences that I had through my mom, and the feeling of being in a real art school, as
Uh-huh.
opposed to what you see today, which seems to me, having my mom took me all to all the great museums in Europe and so forth.
hmm
It
hmm
seems to me is so corporate and so lots of glass and when I was a child, McNay was free. It was just this sweet dumpy old place, and it was
Oh yeah.
free. And
Oh
I
yeah.
and I miss that. And I guess being older, I kind of don't like to see all of this hardcore corporate donor program blah blah blah
Right.
stuff going
Well,
on.
I suppose on the one hand, I can sort of understand in order to keep their doors open and to, have a viable place where people can still come and enjoy the art and to keep the costs very low. I'm sure they need that. They need
Maybe.
to constantly come up with ways and things to bring in funding um,
Yeah.
to, so I sort of understand that.
Maybe, not
Uh,
to interrupt, but I would just say they did fine before. They
well,
stayed
this
open
is
a
true.
long time before. I didn't understand why all of this has to go so,
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, but then there become more competing interests. There are things that start competing with people for people's money and their time and their interest,
Okay.
and it's like it seems as though if they don't have some hook, if you will, to bring people in, uh, they will spend their time and their money at some other activity.
I see.
And that's unfortunate. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it seems to be a reality.
Yeah, I know, and I guess the reality is colliding with my sentiment. So
Yeah, mine as well. I'm afraid,
yeah.
but it is what it is.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, because that's sort of part of the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for example, we have, as I'm sure you're well aware, we have the Blue Star Contemporary Art Center, which is a very different sort of a place than what we have at the
Yeah.
at the Coppini. But then again, they're a gallery, and it's a contemporary gallery, and I understand that. They tend to cater more to academia and the kinds of works that are being pushed in a lot of the academic settings.
Mhm.
So you're going to have work that is more conceptual in nature, it seems, and where you do have painting and drawing and such. There isn't a focus on more traditional kinds of skill, if I can use that
Yeah, please do, because
loosely,
that's sort of the
because,
angle of my story is I'm sort of hearkening back to, Art Students League
well,
1950s, which
Well, I
doesn't
don't know if you
exist
have it. Yeah,
anymore.
well, the place was started in the 50s, right around 1952, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
is when it was chartered. And, it was Copini gifted his studio to the artists of
Yeah.
San Antonio as this place to meet and paint, to draw and discuss representational art.
Yeah.
And so we have continued that within the bylaws. Um, it's not that everything must be classical. I think it used to be that way, but it must be representational, and we've not strayed from that.
What does
So,
representational mean?
well, if, making things look like what they are, and it also sort of means, if you're representing a figure, it should look like that figure,
I
not
see.
some blob or some kind of odd, peculiar thing that you have to think about in conceptual terms. It's not abstraction.
Okay, so it's the opposite of abstract art.
Pretty much. Now, I will
Okay.
say this: all painting is abstract to some degree because,
Yeah.
in the end, what you're looking at is pigment and stuff slapped upon a surface, and you create an illusion of something. In the
Mhm.
case of representational, hopefully, the illusion you're creating is one that represents something tangible, real.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean you can't paint a landscape that is, quote, um, what's
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for, that is impressionistic,
Yeah.
if it still represents a landscape. If it's just blobs of color and stuff, that's not what we're about.
Yeah, and let me interject and I hate to keep interrupting you,
No,
but
that's
I
fine.
find
You go
it so
ahead.
fascinating, and I am trying to get to an angle that I wanted to do. My uncle also was an artist, but he was not natural born like my mom. But anyway, the two
Mm-hmm.
discussed some decades ago, actually, because my mom was from Norway, and they were saying, they're both deceased. They were saying, that kids today, artists today, are not studying. They don't study like they used to. And my mom did the kind of thing where you go to sit in the Louvre and copy. That was the
Yes,
kind of art
yes.
education that she had, which was so different. So what I wanted to say is that it seems like, I hope Coppini is in the same tradition of teaching people how to become
Well,
artists in a more classical sense, so that they have the tools to go and create what they want to.
sure. I will say this. The focus is most definitely upon representational art. We're not a school in the
Okay.
sense that, like a normal school. We are not that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
We are a nonprofit organization, however, that provides this place for artists to meet
Yeah.
and engage in uh, education related to representational art. If I can, I'll see if I can expound on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, we do offer classes, okay? So the way our classes work is these are adult classes, and let's say we have two classes on Mondays during the day, and then on Tuesday and on Wednesday, where we offer classes in beginning painting, intermediate painting,
Hmm.
oil and acrylic, this sort of thing. We
Yeah.
offer a drawing class. We've just now started a drawing class that's going to begin on, I think it's Monday evenings from 6 to 8:30, because we're trying an evening approach
Mm-hmm.
to give people who are in another demographic, people who work, some younger folks. We're trying to pull in people who, may have time in the evening after they come home from work or whatever to
Yeah.
learn about drawing. And this particular class is teaching them the fundamentals of drawing the figure from life.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a lot of that in the colleges and universities.
No, that's
You
what
will
I'm
come in
saying.
and
That's
you'll have
the.
a model and
Yeah.
you will draw, but
Yeah.
there's no one really instructing you about any principles or how to
Yeah.
construct the figure. They
Yeah.
don't go there typically,
Yeah.
unless I'm mistaken. At least that was not my experience.
Sure. Where did you go
And
to school?
I went to UTSA for my
Uh
art
huh.
degree.
Uh
I
huh.
have other degrees, but my art degree, my BFA in painting, was from UTSA. I will
Mm-hmm.
say this: I did not get anything instructive with regard to construction of the figure, those sorts of things. I did have a particular painting teacher who was quite good, and I got some very good fundamentals from her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the strength I got from UTSA was more art history. Okay,
Yeah.
there's more of a focus on conceptual things. We did get exposure to many different things like printmaking and three-dimensional design and sculpture and painting and all of that, but not to the degree that you would get if you went to an atelier or to a teaching school that really, like let's say the Angel Academy or certain ateliers in other parts of the country where they teach you very specific skills on
Yeah.
constructing a painting and a figure. They don't go into that depth, unfortunately. That comes from uh, being very intentional, a lot of time in your studio, going out there and getting the information that you lack from other sources. Unfortunately, we hope to be a place that provides that alternative, because there are young people who aren't getting what they need in the universities and colleges. So we're providing some of it, not as a school. We're not like a chartered school, like a Southwest School of Art or something. We're not
No.
that.
No.
Okay, we're not that, but we do offer, because our classes are not, it's not like an accredited school where they get,
Yeah, no, no,
credit for
no.
college or
I
university,
mean,
but they're
neither is
going
the
to
Art
get,
Students League. They're not an
yeah, neither
accredited
is that,
school
but
either,
there's
and I hope they never become
magnificent
one.
instruction there that isn't
Yeah.
there. So we do offer like classes in drawing, classes in painting. We also offer, we have a program called Coppini Kids, where we're hitting young children.
Yeah.
We're hitting kids that are like, 6, 7, 8 through 11, and then we even have a master class of kids that are like in between. young teens, 11, 12, 13, up into their teen years. We have a class that specifically focuses on them for drawing as well.
Yeah.
And now on Wednesdays and Thursday evenings, we have open sessions. The open sessions are not classes. They're a place where artists can come and know that they have the use of a live model there.
Yeah.
To practice, to refine their skills. On Wednesday nights, we do long poses,
Mm-hmm.
and on Thursday nights, we do short poses, for gesture.
Yeah.
And so professional artists come and they use it. Now, even folks who aren't professional do, but they're not coming there. They may be learning from other students as they go around the room and see what they're doing, but it's not a structured class. I want to be very clear about that. Now, in order to improve membership and provide benefit to members, what we've done is if a person is a member, they pay their dues. They have access to those open sessions, and they pay $10 for the privilege of 3 hours with a live model. That's very, very reasonable, because we have to pay the model for their time.
Oh, sure.
So we do that. It's $10. If a person is not a member, it's going to cost them $25.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's an incentive to go ahead and become a member.
Sure.
Take advantage of other things. The other thing we do is we bring in professionals and acclaimed artists from around the country to do workshops throughout the course of the year. So we'll bring someone in, from like Steven DaLuz from New York, and he'll come in, and we have 3 days, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And members pay one fee, which is usually about $50 less than non-members, so it pays for their membership to take a workshop from an nationally acclaimed artist.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have one coming up in drawing in September, and then we have in October Alicia Ponzio, who is a tremendous sculptor, who is teaching a 4-day intensive on sculpting the figure in clay. This is unusual.
Yeah.
And we think it's great because that's what Coppini was, a sculptor. So it's really
Absolutely.
nice to have someone come in and teach some sculpture.
Absolutely.
So we're doing that as well. Very classical, a sculpture, and we've got that coming up in October. Now, people come from across the country to attend these workshops, so we also help. What's the word I'm looking for? Put San Antonio on the map a little bit as another destination where you can go and get this kind of art education from time to time. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I think that is so important about Coppini, is that you are owning that space of being, a real art place, and not this is a wild sort of contrast, but not the let's drink wine and paint stuff, or
It's not,
any of these.
There are lots of those which are just fun for people to go. And
that's right.
That's entertainment. They're finding something to do. So
yes.
They're learning about slapping paint on a canvas and drinking wine, and it's more of a social interaction than anything else. And I have nothing against that.
No, not at all.
Though. It's quite different than what we're doing. That's not what we're about.
No.
But you know that.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just trying to I was just trying to contrast how special you are remaining to be, as opposed to the sort of stuff going on out there, which is just very so broad that it's just not for artists.
Yeah, we try to further the legacy of Pompeo Coppini.
Yeah.
And he had a protege, Waldy Tosh.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Tosh, might be Tausch, Tauch, I think is how it's spelled.
Uh-huh.
So in doing that, we try to further classical and representational fine art by providing these opportunities here to participate in art instruction, to interact with other artists and art-related professionals from around the world in the subject of representational art.
Yeah.
Now, we're having our fall exhibition for members in November, and we've just published that prospectus. So we do offer occasional opportunities for them to exhibit their work too. And we have our own show there in a gallery upstairs, and we have cash prizes for them, and it's only open to the members.
Yeah.
Now there are shows, and we may do a show in the future that is open to the city, and because it can also pull in potential new members and grow the organization some.
Yeah.
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I just hope that you don't grow too much and start adding glass walls and corporate donor programs and all of this stuff, which is inevitable as we march into the 21st century. So I understand that.
No. I mean, look.
Yeah.
Growth is we as opposed to losing people.
Yeah, I know.
Here's the flip side of this.
I know.
Here's the flip side. The population of the folks who use the Coppini are older.
Yeah.
The vast majority are retired.
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand.
we're talking 60s, 70s, and up
Yeah,
is the vast majority of the people who attend. Now,
yeah,
this is lovely. This is fine. The
yeah,
reason that happens is, okay, they've already had a career, they've already done this and that, and now they have this time to pursue their passion, and they're going to go out there and learn as much as they can about art and painting and just have a great time out there learning these things, taking classes and workshops and painting together. We also have a Friday morning open portrait session where artists can come in
yeah,
and they paint the portrait. And it's not a class, but they're in there painting the portrait, getting time to exercise maybe some skills they learned in a class or a workshop,
yeah,
and you have a live model sitting there.
yeah.
Members pay a small amount for that to cover the model. Non-members will pay more. Um, and so if we leave things alone and we don't try to hit another demographic, the organization will die.
Okay.
Okay, I'm saying this because the members are getting older
Yeah,
and older, and then you're going to need some robust youth in there who will also continue things and participate on the board and make things happen.
yeah.
This is run by volunteers entirely.
Oh, wow, I
There
didn't
is no
know.
paid staff. I
Oh,
want you to
wow,
understand this. Okay,
wow.
it's not like we have paid staff.
Yeah,
I'm president of the board. I
yeah,
make $0.00. And
yeah,
every board member, but yet we do the work.
yeah,
You have the
yeah.
administration of the place. You have to put these things on. You have to do all the things that are required to run the organization, but you
Yeah.
do it for no income. And that's how we're able to keep the costs as low as they are.
No, yeah, that's what I
Uh,
wanted to ask you about. Where the cost, it seems affordable, because in a world where the prices are just soaring and
yeah,
so impossible to find anything of
yeah.
value, your prices, if you're a member, seem so good, and that seems
No, they're good.
so
Well, like for example,
important.
I'll see if I can give you some insight. How do we do our classes? Okay, no one is, when we do an adult class there, essentially what we're doing is we're renting the space of the studio to the teachers. So we have teachers who will come in. We look at what they do. We say, okay, they are not teaching abstraction. This is representational art. This is fine. They can teach a painting class here. And they offer, say, 12 weeks to do a class, and maybe it's $300, okay? And they meet 1 day a week. And what happens is they pay rent to the Coppini because we got to open our doors, run the air conditioner, give them the use of our studio, and all
Yeah.
the easels that are there, so they get this great environment to do this. The students pay the teachers directly. We get no percentage. So this is
Mm.
helping out other art teachers as well, and other
Yeah.
artists to do this. They simply pay us rent for the privilege to do that.
Right.
Now, when we do workshops, now these are a little bit more expensive, but not out of line with other parts of the country.
Mhm.
They're typically anywhere between $400 and $700. I
Mhm.
average around $5 for a 3-day workshop. Okay, but they're from acclaimed artists from around the country. People they've read about magazines or seen on the covers of. These are great artists that we bring in to give them these workshops, and so we bring them here so they have access to these people, which is fantastic, and they can pick up some skills that they might not get in a college or university. Sometimes you'll learn more from a workshop or two than
Right.
you will in an entire 2 years at a university
Uh-huh.
about painting, okay? And that's the value of that. They're getting it directly from a master. And so those things, we take a percentage. We might get, it might be like a 65, 35%, or perhaps 70, 30, depending on how acclaimed the artist is, for the privilege of having the workshop with us. See what I'm saying?
Oh,
And when
yeah.
we do, so that's where, so our money really comes in from annual dues of our members, which
Yeah.
is only $50 a year, which I think is
That's very, yeah,
very,
wonderful.
very
Yeah.
reasonable. I
Very.
think the Portrait Society of America, I think, is around 70. But I think these palette and chisel places and folks like that, the membership there might be $300. So really, we're very reasonable at $50.
Oh, yeah. That's what I
And
mean
then,
about being a value with the seriousness,
yeah,
you know.
so our income comes from the membership, from the percentages received from workshops, from the classes. We get rent from the classes. Now, Coppini Kids is different. They enroll through us, through the website, and the teacher gets X amount for that class. Anything that comes in over and above that goes into what we do. And there are other ways we get income as well. For example, that that Pompeo Coppini did the Cenotaph downtown.
Yeah.
there's a lot of controversy about that.
Yeah, I know.
There's a construction company that's reinforcing it and going
Yeah.
in there and doing a lot of work. Well, they have board members who, they'd like to have a copy of a bronze of that cenotaph. So they come to us, we go to the foundry, and we're making these bronzes for them, a certain number, and we will charge them a certain amount, which will cover the expense of doing the bronzes, and then any excess will come into our coffers at the Coppini. So that is not something that happens very often, but it is certainly something we do as well.
Mm-hmm.
The major things, though, are the adult classes we offer, which are just usually 1 day a week for that particular class. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
That's how they run, and the thing is, there's no pressure on the students because there's no grades or anything like that. They're just
No.
there to learn.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the workshops that are usually over weekends.
And
We do those, and then again, we offer the open sessions more as a benefit to our members, to the public as well, if they're willing to pay the price.
yeah.
It costs them more, so we're trying to encourage membership.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you're not open. I think that I keep bringing it up. It's the only reference I have. I think the Art Students League was the kind of place where people sort of drifted in and out, or it was probably always open and you're just in and out. But the
We're not like
Coppini,
that. I
yeah,
wish we were,
yeah.
but
I
I bet
understand
you if
why.
you did research into the Art Students League, you will probably find that they have some paid staff to keep that thing running.
Yeah, of course it's that place. But
We do not.
yeah, because I've driven by a few times and it seemed closed up, and that's why I started getting curiouser and
Well,
curiouser.
let me tell you, we are closed in the month of August. What we do,
Okay.
so if you went by anytime this month,
Oh, I
it's because we
see.
are truly closed.
Okay.
But yeah, we're closed during the month of August. During the month of August, we're doing a lot. What we do is we do a deep cleaning
Yeah.
inside. We've done that. We look at our processes. We look at things that are coming up for the following year,
Mhm.
like new board members, etc. The fall show that's coming up. There are a lot of things coming up toward the end of the year and into the new year. So they typically close in the month of August. It's so hot here in San Antonio.
Oh,
You can't bring
yeah.
anyone in to do a workshop anyway.
Yeah, it's
So
like Europe or something. Everybody, closes up in the month of August. So I get it.
yeah. But I wanted you to know, and it seems like you didn't know until I told you, there is no paid staff.
Well, no, well, I didn't know one way or the other. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Now you know. It's
yeah,
run
I
entirely by
understand.
volunteers.
Oh, I understand. I mean, I'm still in love with the place, no matter what you say about it, because
Yeah.
it's just got
Oh,
that
it's a
lovely,
wonderful place. It's a wonderful
faded
place.
villa, of times past when it seems, they were so real. But anyway, yeah. So I will not be able to get a personal angle from a student if I stopped by or asked you for, because
Well, you could definitely get a personal angle from a student, but it may not be if you stop by. I would
yeah,
give you the times that the classes are going on,
yeah.
or when we're starting up the. I think it would be great for you to come by
Oh, I'd love to.
at one of our open sessions. For
That's
example,
what I was
if you wanted
interested
to do
in.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the open session, it's not a class.
No, I know, I
Uh,
understand.
but what we have is we have facilitators who are volunteers, by the way, and they come out and volunteer their time to open the place up, set up the lights. I have a guy who is our model coordinator. We make sure they have a model there
Mhm.
that evening. People come in and they sign up. There's no photography allowed in the room for
Mhm.
obvious reasons, especially in the day of social media. But on Wednesday evenings, we run from, let me think, I believe it's 6:30 to 9:30. There's 3 hours that they run the long poses. And then on Thursday nights, it's from 7 to 9.
Yeah,
7
how
to 9:30,
wonderful.
something like
Yeah.
that. So they're evening situations. So you'd have to show up in the evening if you want to
Yeah,
do
that's what I thought, but you're not open. Would it be next week that you're
September the 7th.
Okay, the
So
7th.
back
I'll
up
tell
open session. So
Jasmina.
on the 7th,
Yeah.
you'll see things open up again.
Yeah.
So Wednesdays, Thursdays. And if you want, I could give you, if you're going to go by, I could give you a number for one of the facilitators, and you could let them know, or you could let me know, and I could tell them, and you could,
Yeah,
so they know you're coming by. And
let me email you because I don't know when she
yeah.
wants this. If she's willing to wait, then I can, yeah.
Email me when
Yeah, I
you'd like to
will.
go,
I
and I will
will.
let the the
I
appropriate
will.
people know so they can
Yeah.
expect you, and you
Yeah.
could talk to them. If you want to talk to, I know we have classes coming up too this fall. They're starting up in September. I think
Yeah.
maybe a class by Karen McCauley or someone like that, or
Yeah.
who's the other
Yeah.
woman? Uh, Marion Field Cook is
Yeah.
another one who does a class that start. We have like 4 classes starting up this fall.
Yeah.
So there's ample. So if you wanted to see one of those and talk to a
Yeah.
student who's actually enrolled in a class or
Yeah.
to the teacher,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I could hook you up with those. I can send you a schedule. How about I
Yeah.
do that? I
Yeah.
can send you a schedule, and then you can decide when you might want to come and see any of these people and have a chat with them.
That sounds fine. I'll let Jasmina know what the timeline is. She wanted it by the end of the week, but that's not going to be
That won't
possible.
happen because we're
Yeah.
closed in August.
Yeah, exactly. So
The timing is just
I'm going to let her know.
unfortunate.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. No problem. I mean, this is sort of one of those evergreen stories anyway, so it's no big deal, at least for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
no, the reason is actually I was looking for it because I took, I took art history. My best class, actually, I went to Austin College in Sherman, but my best class was at UTSA in art history. And that was like the best class of my life. For some reason, I remember it so well, and I did well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
used to take a lot of art at Austin College, and I look at the things that I did, and it was really not half bad, And so I went over to Coppini because I was interested in that open session, doing it
Yeah, there you
myself.
go. Well, what you
So
just said is very true. I feel like I got a very good grounding in art history over at UTSA.
yeah,
There were some really great historians, and I thought it was very thorough and very good. And to this day, I have a very good grounding of in art history. The
yeah,
practical aspects of art, I did get some very good things. I'm not
yeah,
trying to trash the place, but if I were to advise a young student, if they wanted to learn how to paint like so and so,
yeah,
and they're a tremendous representational artist, I wouldn't advise them to go to a place like UTSA. There are other places they could go that would be much better, or they'd be
yeah.
far better off studying at different schools around the country or certain ateliers to get that kind of training.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be a real artist, I don't think you go that path unless you want to
No.
teach. But
If you're going to teach and you're
yeah,
getting an MFA, then fine, you
yeah,
can teach, but you're
yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
able to be a good teacher in the representational art world, quite honestly.
No, yeah,
They
yeah.
really won't be. God, I shouldn't say that. I'm being recorded.
No, 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 no,
That is
no, no.
not
It's
true.
okay. It's okay. It's
There
okay.
may be teachers. There may be teachers who I'm
Yeah.
not aware of who are there now who are quite fabulous.
Well, a
And
friend of
maybe they do give them some good instruction in representational
yeah,
art. But in my experience, that was not the case.
a friend of mine was Bob Wade, and he did the cowboy boots. I met
yeah.
him. Yeah, I met him because I had to cover him for a story. I used to work at WOAI, and so he said, I think he went to Berkeley for his undergraduate, and then he got his MFA, I think in Denton or in Texas somewhere, and then he taught. But just as a way of surviving. And who else taught? My favorite artist is Hans Hofmann, and he had to teach in order to support himself. And Hans Hofmann didn't become the famous block painter that he was until he became old, And so I don't deny. I understand their need to teach because of to eat. So I get that. Yeah.
Well, listen, Marion, on our website, and like you'll see, if you go there, if you go to the website and you click on classes, you hover over classes, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different classes there. And you'll see one of them is Coppini Kids, and then you'll see Master Class with David Saucy.
Yeah.
You'll see Karen McCauley.
Yeah.
If you click on any one of those, it shows, okay, here's one from Marion Field Cook, drawing at the intermediate level.
Yeah.
Fall session, $300,
Yeah.
September 7th through November 30th,
Yeah.
1 to 4 p.m. So there you are. And she talks about what she's going to cover. It's right there.
Yeah.
And so those classes, and I think your class is full, to my knowledge. So you will have access to students and a teacher.
Oh yeah, great.
At these classes,
Yeah.
and they're all right there on our website. If you click them, they'll show the dates.
Yeah.
How much it costs.
Yeah.
What they're covering. It's right there.
Yeah. Well, I just have one final question. You were talking about the retiree group, and of course, San Antonio had traditionally different demographics. And of course, when my mom was studying art in New York, she was young. But my question is that, for example, if you're young and you've decided I want to be an artist in the most traditional sense. what do they do? Do they go to Italy? I mean, do they go up to Art Students League? Do they say, well, I can't afford that, and they stay in San Antonio and go to Coppini? I mean, it seems like they've gone a much more commercial route in order to get an education, like a BA and all
Well,
of
that's
that.
probably true. And
Yeah.
they could go. There are places throughout the country that are really good schools. You have Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Art,
Are they
NAFA,
real
they call it.
schools? Are they real schools, or it's not that sort
No,
of?
that's a real school.
Yeah, that's what,
Those are
and you
art
know what I
schools.
mean by
Yeah.
real school, huh? Not this sort of trumped up arts academy,
No, no,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
real schools.
yeah.
And so there are several out there across the country where they can go. Um, right, Rhode Island School of Design is a good one. I think Savannah. There. Now again, they do hit of late. They get a bit more conceptual. You're going to get that. You're going to get that no matter what you do. If you're going to
Mm-hmm.
one of these degree granting universities,
Yeah,
but some are better than others. Some
yeah,
have a stronger representational focus than others.
yeah,
There are fewer, but they are out there. And San Antonio used to be really probably one of the better schools to go to was Southwest School of Art, but
yeah.
even they've gotten somewhat conceptual, but they do have more things going on over there that I think than UTSA, but I think they're now under the umbrella of UTSA. I think
Yeah,
UTSA absorbed them, if I'm not mistaken.
they are, and in fact, I sort of didn't like that the universities are eating up everything around them,
They're
because
eating them up
that's a
because
whole
of that
other that's a whole other topic. Is that
It
these
is. It is.
universities are turning into massive corporations where they're just sort of
Yep.
chomping on everything, and now they've done that.
Yep.
But then I started to think myself, gosh, Pixie, wouldn't it be nice to get a master's in art? And then I could sort of segue into another field. So, so I hope they don't ruin it too much.
Yeah, I hope so too. I guess time will tell. I also went to SAC, and I have to say
Yeah.
I got some pretty good grounding there in a few areas.
Mm-hmm.
And like they didn't even teach color theory at UTSA, but I did get color theory at SAC.
Oh,
And that
really?
was a great class. And I
Yeah.
took art direction over there, which was a tremendous class.
Oh,
That
wow.
it helps you take a concept
Yeah.
and boil that thing down
Yeah.
into a complete campaign of work. And there was a lot of hand done thumbnails that you did, because nowadays all the kids do things in the computer,
Yeah.
which is fine, but
But it's
there's
not real.
no
It's so.
substitute for doing
Yeah,
these
I
designs
agree.
and thumbnail sketches, right?
Yeah, I know.
So there was some pretty good grounding over there. Again, though, when you take a painting class or a drawing class, they don't tell you how to draw
No.
or how to paint. They give you some information about the technical aspects of the materials.
Yeah.
Then they leave you to fly on your own.
Well,
out
to
there
see if you
and
have
talk
any
about
innate
it.
talent, like I saw the Rembrandt exhibition in Amsterdam, and I'll never forget this visual where it was himself and his friend, and they were given an old man to draw,
Yes.
and then Rembrandt's was incredible. It was just belonged to another universe, and then his friend just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that
you-
tells you about what
Yeah.
talent is and what it's not.
Oh, well, yeah, now there's truth to that. But I also have this feeling, maybe that's the wrong term. I think virtually anyone can learn to draw and learn to draw well and even learn to paint if they're willing to put in the time, the energy, and the effort to do it. Now,
That's
there
true.
Are those who have an
But
interest that's
some
far
are
more-
talented and some are not. I don't think that you can take somebody and then somebody and then have them produce the same thing. That's just never what the world will be, because some people have that gift and that's it.
Yes, but if I may, I have seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
When you take someone who is really rather cruddy when they start out, simply because they haven't been taught anything,
Yeah.
and then they're taught principles, and if they work at it,
Yeah.
they're willing to put in the kinds of, and what I mean work at it, I'm talking about 10,000 drawings later.
Yeah, I
They
see.
can become
Okay.
quite good at
Right,
what they do,
right,
depending
right.
on where they go with it. Now, is there talent? Yes, I believe there is.
It just flows, because I've seen it with my mom versus her brother. And with my mom, it was just there. And with her brother, my wonderful uncle, it just was not.
Well, have you been to my website? Go there if you get a chance.
Oh yeah,
I'm a
well,
I'm a working I'm a working exhibiting artist full time
yeah,
myself. That's
yeah,
what I do.
yeah.
I just sold some work in a show I was invited to in Tokyo, Japan,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
yeah, it was really great. And I just got the email from him last night that that it was just two pieces, but it was an
Wow,
invitational.
that's
And
wonderful.
but they sold, which I'm very happy about. And then
Yeah.
I showed with Daniel Sprick. Are you familiar with Daniel Sprick's work?
No,
You
I'm
must look him up.
okay.
He is absolutely brilliant.
Mhm.
But we were with the only two Americans were myself and Daniel Sprick, and then the others were from Japan,
Mhm.
China, Taiwan, other places
Wow.
in Asia. So it was really a nice, fascinating opportunity to
Oh
do that.
yeah.
But I do representational work, but I also do imagined landscapes. That's when I'm just having a lot of fun. I work with
Yeah.
gold leaf and oil and stuff, but that's not why you
Wow.
called me.
Wow.
But I wanted
That's
you to
okay.
know I'm also a working,
Oh, I understand.
exhibiting
Yeah.
professional artist. That
Yeah.
is something that I do. That is my
Yeah.
primary
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I work in this role as a volunteer, and
Yeah.
it's a 2-year stint. My 2 years is up in December.
Mm.
January, we'll have a new president, but I'm going to
Mhm.
stay on the board to help
Yeah.
transition them.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
Oh, I
It is a
know.
lot of work because there
I
is no
know.
paid staff. So you've got to
No.
make sure everything gets done to keep things rolling.
Yeah.
It would be better if we had the kind of funding that we really need to keep things going. Now, we also have, just so you know, I don't want you to think everything is, all the funds come from what I just said to you. We have a trust. We have a trust account.
Yeah.
So we will tap into that, once a month to provide some funds to, keep everything going as well. But we don't, we at least do our best not to affect the principle. But what I'm
Is the
saying is
trust
we do have a
from?
trust.
Is that from Mr. Coppini because he
Yes,
that villa
it was
is his?
initially set up, and then
Yeah.
of course we put money into it from, excuse me, when we do things that bring in funding, like when we did these little statues that put out a nice little chunk of change there that helps us to have the funds we need to operate.
Mhm.
When we have money that's beyond what we need to operate, well, we can put it into that. So
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
we're not going anywhere anytime soon. What I'm
No.
saying though is if the demographic doesn't change
Yeah.
and it's strictly primarily retire. I can tell you right now, looking at our demographic, the
Yeah.
vast majority are retirees.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's just a fact.
Yeah. No, I
And now
understand.
that is a fact, and I'm not saying that as a negative, but it is a reality. And so we do need to bring in other demographics into the organization, and we're working very diligently to do that because we want it to continue to thrive and persist long after we're gone.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I was hoping that you were more of a real art school where people who want to become artists,
We're not an art school, and I want to
yeah.
make that clear.
Okay.
We're not a school per se.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would
We're
you
an
call
academy.
it?
We are a fine arts academy, but we're not really a school in the way that you would
What
define
would
a school.
be the
But
difference?
pardon me?
What is the technical difference?
Well, an art school would be something like the Southwest School of Art. They're accredited, and
Oh, so accreditation is your
and they
difference.
have rule accreditation, and they have
Okay.
rules they need to
Okay.
follow as
Okay.
a school.
Okay.
That we don't have to. We're frankly, we have much more flexibility
Yeah, I
and
see.
leeway to do what we do.
Okay.
Because it's a private organization, really, that is a nonprofit.
Yeah.
We're not in the business to. That does not mean you can't be an entrepreneurial nonprofit and still make funds for your organization
Yeah.
and put it back into it to keep it alive. But we do offer classes, but they're not in the same way where someone is going for, say, 3 months and, 2 days a week, 3 days a week for this class, and they're earning a grade at the end of that class, following a very specific curriculum. Those
Yeah.
curriculums are made by the individual teachers.
Yeah.
And they're going 1 day a week, and they take these. We still offer these classes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that my mom got grades at Art Students League or at Art Center College of Design in Pasadena. She wasn't there to get grades. She was there to study art.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No. So.
But the teachers, the key is that it's set up between the teachers and the students, and they use our facility to do them there.
Yeah.
but we don't have someone in there that's teaching. Okay, we bring in a teacher that's going to teach painting. That's not what we're about.
Yeah.
It has to be representational art.
Yeah.
If they wanted to touch on those subjects in the course of their class, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's part of your learning
Yeah.
experience. But the focus is representational art.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we're trying to grow that
yeah.
and add some
Yeah.
more things in the
Yeah.
evening now, which we
Yeah.
haven't had in years, I guess.
Yeah.
So
It's
we do have the classes, open sessions, and
yeah.
workshops is what we have.
Well, I think that I really wanted to put this article into a bigger piece, well, for it to reach as many people as possible, because I certainly want to help in any way I can. But nonetheless, I really do think Coppini is going to be okay. I mean, I would think that as San Antonio grows.